Welcome to the Madison Miller Podcast. Today is Friday, October 1st, 2021. Today I'm going to recap yesterday's Major League Baseball games and look ahead to the weekend and predict how it's all going to play out with the playoffs and whatnot. Then I'll recap yesterday's Wnba playoff games, look ahead to Sunday's games. We'll look at the Major League Soccer slate for the weekend. Then we'll do the picks, all the picks for the NFL and college football for the weekend, as well as going over last night's games in the process. We'll go over the current leaderboard in the golf tournament, Nascar. We'll pick the races, news and notes, and my best bet of the day. I apologize. The NHL trade value is going to be delayed until next week. All right, we'll start with Major League Baseball. Final week, end of the regular season coming up, so that's why baseball gets the nod over football for this particular show. We'll recap the games from yesterday and look ahead to the weekend. Cardinals over the Brewers 4-3. Cardinals 89-70. Milwaukee 95-64. So both those teams are obviously clinched. Rangers over the Angels 7-6. Rangers 59-100. LA 75-84. Cubs over the Pirates 9-0. Cubs 69-90. Pittsburgh 59-100. Orioles over the Red Sox 6-2. Orioles 52-107. Boston 89-70. So bad loss for Boston there. Yanks over the Blue Jays 6-2. Yanks big win 91-68. Toronto 88-71. Mets over the Marlins 12-3. Mets 76-83. Miami 65-94. Astros over the Rays 3-2 to clinch the American League West. Houston 93-66. Tampa Bay 98-61. Braves over the Phillies 5-3 to clinch the NL East for the fourth consecutive year. Atlanta's 86-72. Philly 81-78. Tigers over the Twins 10-7. The Tigers 76-83. Minnesota 71-88. Indians over the Royals 6-1. Indians 78-81. KC 73-86. Giants over the D-backs 5-4. The Giants 105-54. Arizona 50-105. So their magic number is 2 to clinch the division. Dodgers over the Padres 108-3. Dodgers 103-56. Padres 78-81. All right, the weekend. So you got 6:30 Reds Pirates, Will Crow, Luis Castillo. The Reds are minus 172. The Pirates are plus 144. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 106. Unders minus 114. Reds minus 1.5 is plus 114. Pittsburgh plus 1.5 is minus 137. I'm going to go with the over for that one. 7 o'clock, Red Sox Nationals. Eduardo Rodriguez and Josh Rogers. Red Sox minus 200, Nats plus 168, over under 9. Overs minus 120, others minus 102. Red Sox minus 1.5 is minus 115. Nats plus 1.5 is minus 104. Let's go with the over. Rays Yankees. Shane McClanahan and Nestor Cortez. Yanks minus 130, Rays plus 110, over under 9, minus 110 each way. Rays plus 1.5 is minus 170. Yanks minus 1.5 is plus 140. Tough one. Yanks can clinch with the win. Or Mariner Red Sox loss. Let's go with the under 9, minus 110. Orioles Blue Jays. Leno is going for Baltimore and Steven Matz is going for Toronto. Game's not up there yet on the sheet, but if the total's anything less than 10, I'm taking the over. Phil's Marlins, meaningless game. Ranger Suarez and Sandy Alcantara. Phillies minus 120, Marlins plus 102, over under 7. Overs minus 118, unders minus 104. Phil's minus 1.5 is plus 138. Marlins plus 1.5 is minus 166. I'm going with the Marlins as a home dog. 7:20 Mets Braves. Tyler McGill, Oscar Yanoa. Braves minus 154, Mets plus 130, over under 9, overs minus 105, unders minus 115. Mets plus 1.5 is minus 160, Braves minus 1.5 is plus 132. I'm going with the Mets as a road dog, and that is because of the letdown factor for Atlanta after clinching. Indians Rangers. Eli Morgan, Spencer Howard. Indians minus 118, Rangers plus 100, over under 9, overs minus 104, unders minus 118. Indians minus 1.5 is plus 142, Rangers plus 1.5 is minus 172. I'm going to go with over 9 minus 104. Tigers White Sox. Willie Peralta, Lance Lynn. White Sox minus 290. Tigers plus 235. Over under 8.5. Minus 110 each way. Tigers plus 1.5 is plus 110. White Sox minus 1.5 is minus 132. I'm going to go with... this is a tough one. Lance Lynn could steal the Cy Young, but he's missed too much time. I'm going to go over 8.5 minus 110 with the sole reason of I think the White Sox offense get to Peralta a little bit. Twins Royals. John Gant and John Heasley. The John Bowl. Twins minus 120. Royals plus 102. Over under 9. Overs minus 120. Unders minus 102. Twins minus 1.5 is plus 140. Royals plus 1.5 is minus 170. I'm going to go with the Royals as the home dog plus 102. A's Astros. Sean Manaea, Framber Valdez. Astros minus 168. A's plus 142. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 104. Unders minus 118. Oakland plus 1.5 is minus 138. Astros minus 1.5 is plus 115. I'm going with that A's over the money line plus 142. Letdown for the Astros after clinching the playoff or clinching the AL West. Cubs Cardinals. We don't know what's going for the Cubs, and Dakota Hudson's going for St. Louis. I might consider betting on the Cubs here because the Cards aren't playing for anything, and they're just trying to stay healthy for Wednesday night next week. 9:30 Rocks D-backs. John Gray and Humberto Castellanos. Rockies minus 112. D-backs minus 104. Over under 8.5. Overs minus 122. Unders even money. Rocks minus 1.5 is plus 150. D-backs plus 1.5 is minus 182. I'm going with the Rockies on the money line minus 112. 9:45 Padres Giants. Uno's going for San Diego and Anthony DeSclafani's going for San Francisco. No lines out yet, but if the total is anything less than 9, I'll take the over. 10 o'clock Angels Mariners. Jose Suarez, Marco Gonzalez. Seattle minus 174. Angels plus 146. Over under 7.5. Overs minus 115. Unders minus 105. Angels plus 1.5 is minus 144. Mariners plus or minus 1.5 is plus 120. I'm going to go over 7.5 minus 115. Only because I think that the Angels bullpen can give up runs to the Mariners. Mariners are a pretty clutch team. Last but not least, Brewers Dodgers. Eric Lauer and Clayton Kershaw. Dodgers minus 230. Brewers plus 190. Over under 8 minus 110 each way. Brewers plus 1.5 is minus 106. Dodgers minus 1.5 is minus 113. I'm going to go with the under 8 minus 110. Lauer's been pretty good for Milwaukee, and I think Kershaw will step up in the big spot as the Dodgers on life support for a division title. All right, the rest of the weekend. 1 o'clock, Saturday, Yanks race Shane Baez and Jordan Montgomery. 3 o'clock, Orioles Jays, John Means, Alek Manoah. 4 o'clock, Red Sox Nats. We don't know what's going for Boston. Josiah Gray's going for Washington. Pods Giants, Joe Musgrove, Kevin Gossman. 6 o'clock, Phils Marlins. We don't know what's going for the Phils, and Jesus Luzardo is going for Miami. 6:30, Reds Pirates, Tyler Mahle, Max Karinchak. 7 o'clock, Indians Rangers, Tristan McKenzie and Jordan Lyles. Tigers White Sox. Matt Manning, Lucas Giolito. Twins, Royals. Griffin Jackson, we don't know what's going for KC. A's, Astros, now we're in the 7 o'clock range. Paul Blackburn, Jake Odorizzi. 7:15, Cubs, Cards. Adrian Sampson and John Lester. Mets, Braves, 7:20. Trevor Williams, we don't know what's going for Atlanta. 8 o'clock, Rockies, D-backs. Antonio Sensatella and Zach Gallen. 9 o'clock, Angels, Mariners. Jonathan Diaz and Chris Flexen. And Brewers, Dodgers. Corbin Burns, Lily Rios. All right, Sunday. All right, 3 o'clock, Red Sox, Nats. We don't know the pitching matchups yet. Every game's at 3 o'clock, by the way. That's smart. Reds, Pirates. It's Reverson Martin. We know it's going for Pittsburgh. Indians, Rangers. We know it's going for Cleveland. Dane Dunny's going for the Rangers. Pods, Giants. We know it's going for the Pods. Logan Webb's going for the Giants. Rays, Yanks. Michael Wacha's going for the Rays. We don't know who's going for the Yanks. Orioles, Blue Jays. Bruce Zimmerman, Hyunjin Ryu. Angels, Mariners. We know it's going for the Angels. And Tyler Anderson's going for Seattle. Rocks, D-backs. Colorado, we don't know. Humberto Mejia for Arizona. Humberto Mejia looks like he's just an opener. Tigers, White Sox, Tyler Alexander, Dylan Cease. Brewers, Dodgers, we don't know the pitching matchup yet. Twins, Royals, don't know the pitching matchup yet. A's, Astros, Corbin, Jose Urquidy. Phils, Marlins, Zach Wheeler, Trevor Rogers. Cubs, Cards, Alec Mills, Jake Woodford, and Mets, Braves. Noah Syndergaard, and we don't know what's going for Atlanta. All right, I'm going to predict now how the rest of these series is going to play out and how it will look on Monday. All right, so things currently stand right now. The AL East is done. The AL Central's done. The AL West is done. The NL East is done. The NL Central's done. So the things that we have left to decide is the NL West and the AL wild cards. We're going to start the AL wild card. Right now, Yankees are up 2 for the first spot. Boston, Seattle tied for the second spot. Toronto's 1 back. And Oakland's been eliminated. And then Dodgers, Giants. Giants are 2 ahead of the Dodgers. So for these series, Red Sox, Nationals, I'm going to say that Boston takes 2 out of 3. Reds, Pirates. Meaningless series. Probably 2 out of 3 Reds. I'm going to go through the bad series first. We gave away one of the good series already, or the meaningful series. Indians, Rangers, I'm going to say the Indians take 2 out of 3. Rockies, D-backs. I'd say the Rockies take 2 out of 3. Tigers, White Sox is meaningless. Sort of, because home field advantage is still to be determined in the ALDS. So we'll skip that one. Twins, Royals. I say the Royals take 2 out of 3. They've been better than the Twins this year from a record standpoint. I would say the Marlins take 2 out of 3 from the Phils. Say the Cubs take 2 out of 3 from the Cards, only because the Cards are just trying to keep everybody healthy, and I can see them pulling guys in the game. And then I'm going to say the Mets take 2 out of 3 from Atlanta, so letdown factor for the Braves a little bit. All right, the meaningful series is. We'll start with home field advantage for the ALDS. We know the Rays have it. And I'm going to say that Oakland takes 2 out of 3 from the Astros, because Astros sort of have a letdown. And the White Sox take 2 out of 3 from the Tigers. And that leaves those 2 teams tied. With the same record. Now it comes down to tiebreakers. The White Sox took 2 out of 3 at home against the Astros back in July. And the Astros swept the White Sox in June at home. So If they end up tied, the Astros have the tiebreaker, so the Astros are going to have home field advantage. So, essentially, the White Sox have to sweep the Tigers, and the Astros have to lose 2 out of 3 for that to happen. So I'm going to say White Sox win 2 out of 3. Astros lose 2 out of 3, but the Astros still have home field advantage because of the head-to-head. Now we will do the NL West. I'm going to say that the Dodgers sweep the Brewers. And I'm going to say that the Giants make it a little interesting and the Padres win 1 game. So that would mean the Giants would win the NL West. So they both win the night, magic number down to 1. Giants clinch Saturday. They lose to the Padres on Sunday. Or maybe they lose to the Padres first and they make it a little interesting. I can think the Dodgers are going to sweep Milwaukee to try so hard for that division crown. And last but not least, the AL wild card. This is the biggest one. So I already gave away my Red Sox will take 2 out of 3 from Washington. I think that the Mariners will take 2 out of 3 from the Angels. The Blue Jays will sweep Baltimore. And the Yankees take 2 out of 3 from the Rays. So it'll be the Yankees. And then we'll have a tie between the Red Sox and the Mariners. And I think Toronto sweeps. So 2 out of 3 would bring Boston to 91-71. Same with Seattle. And then Toronto will be 91-71 too. What happens if there's a 3-way tie? I think this is insane. So that would mean a 3-way tie. And I'm going to pull up how that would work. So the scenario here would be that Club A hosts Club B on Monday. The winner of that game hosts Club C on Tuesday to determine who travels to face the Yankees in the AL wildcard game, which would have to be pushed back. So that's it. And so in terms of who's A, who's B, and who's C, the Red Sox went 14-12 against the Mariners and the Blue Jays, while the Mariners went 7-6 against the Red Sox and the Blue Jays. Those are identical winning percentages, so the Red Sox win out by virtue of their 4-3 showing against Seattle and get to choose an A, B, or C designation first. The Mariners choose next, and then the Blue Jays get the leftover. So there you have it for the 3-way tie for the American League wild card second spot that I was trying to look for, because that's what I predict happens. So it's crazy. So we'll see. That I'm just predicting chaos here, and it's going to be so fun. Alrighty, now I'm going to go over the WNBA playoff games from yesterday, and we look ahead to Sunday. Sun over the Sky, 79-68 to even up the series at 1 apiece. Alyssa Thomas had 15 points, 11 boards, and 6 assists. And Kalia Cooper had 13 to lead Chicago. Mercury over the Aces won 17-91 to take a 2-0 series lead. Or, I'm sorry, that ties the series at 1. I thought the Mercury won game 1 for whatever reason. But no, it's a 1-1 series now. Diana Taurasi, 37 points, a playoff career high. And Kelsey Plum at 25 points for Las Vegas. Sunday, 1 o'clock on ESPN, The Sun in the Sky, Game 3. If I had to project the line here, I would say the Sky would be a 7-point home dog, about. And the line is let's see if we have them yet. Basketball. Yep. No, we do not have the games yet, but I'm going to say that the Sun win Game 3. And 3 o'clock on ABC, the Aces in the Mercury home now. I would say Aces by 2 would be the line in that game. And by the way, I'd say the Sun by 6 and the Aces by 2. I'm going to say that the Mercury actually win Game 3 at home to take a 2-1 series lead. All right, now I'm just going to fly through the Major League Soccer schedule. No picks because we have to get into football. So Saturday is 3:30, Austin, Salt Lake. 7 o'clock, Club Football Montreal, Atlanta. 7:30, Cincinnati at the Red Bulls, or hosting the Red Bulls. Orlando, DC United. 8 o'clock, Dallas, Minnesota. And 10 o'clock, Vancouver, San Jose. Sunday, 12 o'clock, NYCFC hosting Nashville. 4 o'clock, Philly hosts Columbus. Kansas City hosts Houston. Chicago at Toronto. 5:30, Miami at Portland. 8 o'clock on ESPN, LAFC against LA Galaxy. Great game. And then 10 o'clock, Seattle hosts Colorado. All right, now we'll get into the NFL. We'll recap Thursday Night Football from last night. And the Bengals came out on top by a score of 24-21. Courtesy of a game-winning field goal by Evan McPherson. They're 3-1. Jacksonville's 0-4. Joe Burrow, 25 of 32, 348 yards and 2 touchdowns. Trevor Lawrence, 17 of 24 with 204 yards and a rushing touchdown. All right, so the picks for week number 4. The podcast picks. Sunday, 1 o'clock. The Washington Professional Football Team at Atlanta. I project the Falcons by 2, total 50.15, and it's the football team by 1.5, and total of 47.5. I'm going to take the Falcons getting the 1.5 at home, and I like them plus 102 to win straight up. The Bears hosting the Lions. I project the Bears by 8, total 46.5. And it's Bears by 3, total 41.5. For this game, I'm going to lay it with the Bears. Hopefully Justin Fields will play. If not, this projection will change. So, give me the Bears minus the 3. Titans, Jets. I project the Titans by 8.5, total 40-85. But if those receivers don't play, then this line will go down for me to 7.5. So 8.5 and 40-85. I'm going to take the under because of the possibility of the two receivers not playing. The Jets' defense has kind of been decent at times, weirdly enough, and the Jets' offense just stinks. Browns-Vikings. I project the Vikings as a 1-point dog, total 51.85. Meanwhile, it's Browns 2.5 and total 51.5. I have no choice but to take the Vikings plus the 2.5 for the show. I don't like the pick because the picks are so close. So the edge isn't clear of where I should go all that much in terms of actually placing a bet. Colts-Dolphins. I project the Dolphins by 2, total 43.85. Meanwhile, it's Dolphins 1.5, total 42.5. So the numbers are pretty close. But I have to take the over. Panthers-Cowboys. I project the Cowboys by 6, total 43. Meanwhile, it's 4.5 and 51.5. I have to take the under, no choice. No Christian McCaffrey, which hurts the Panthers' offense and their ability to move the ball. So I'm going to go under 51.5 at minus 105. Giants-Saints. I project the Saints by 9.5, total 40.85. Meanwhile, it's 7 and 41.5. I hate to do this, but I'm laying the 7 with New Orleans. The Giants might not have two of their starting wide receivers either, which hurts them offensively. So I'm going to lay the 7 with the Saints. Chiefs-Eagles. I project the Chiefs by 4, total 52.5. Meanwhile, it's 7 and 54.5. I have no choice but to take the plus 7 with Philadelphia. I don't see the Chiefs losing this game, but I think it'll be close. As some of those or not but their ex-coach and Andy Reid, they want to play hard because he's on the opposite side. Bills-Texans. I project Bills 19, total 46.8. Meanwhile, 17.5 and 47. I have no choice but to lay the 17.5 with Buffalo. 4 o'clock window now. Cardinals-Rams. I project the Rams by 7, total 54.2. Meanwhile, it's 4 and 54.5. I love the Rams minus the 4. Love it. Seahawks-49ers. I project 49ers by 6.5, total 52.35. Meanwhile, it's 3 and 51.5. I'm laying the 3 at San Francisco, too. Ravens-Broncos. I project Broncos 5, total 44.8. Meanwhile, it's Broncos as a 1-point underdog, total 44.5. The Broncos open as a favorite to begin the week. I'm going to take the Broncos plus 1 and minus 104 on the money line. Steelers-Packers. Jim Nantz, Tony Romo special. I project the Packers by 9, total 44.55. Meanwhile, it's Packers 6.5, total 45.5. I'm going to lay the 6.5 with Green Bay. But it makes me worried a little bit if TJ Watt is indeed back for this game. And last but not least, Sunday Night Football. The most overhyped regular season game I've seen in a while in terms of style and team level. But it is rightfully highly anticipated because it's obviously the return of Tom Brady to Foxborough. And Rob Gronkowski too. But more so Brady. I project the Bucs by 2, total 49.3. Meanwhile, it's Bucs by 7, total 49.5. I'm taking the Patriots getting the points. I think they'll play hard in this game. They won't win. But I think Belichick's going to get up for this game. It's going to be very close. And I'm going to say that Ryan Suckup hits the game-winning field goal at the end for the win for New England as Brady will lead a game-winning drive. But the Patriots stay within the 7. And then we'll pick Monday night's game on the podcast on Monday. All right, now we'll recap the college football games from last night. And we will look ahead to the weekend. Actually, one college football game, I should say. And that was Virginia defeating Miami 30-28 as Miami's kicker Andres Boralgas misses as time expired to give Virginia the win. As they go to 3-2, Miami drops to 2-3. So my pick doesn't come through, but the under does. All right. To the picks now. Tonight, 7:30 on ESPN, you have Houston at Tulsa. I project as a pick'em, total 57.5. Meanwhile, it's Tulsa 3.5 and 54.5. I'm going to take Houston getting all the points. I like the over 2, but I think this is a 3-point game regardless. 8 o'clock on Fox Sports 1, number 5 Iowa at Maryland. I project Iowa by 9, total 43.9. Meanwhile, it's Iowa 3.5, total 47.5. I love Iowa minus the points. I remember the Terps were in this situation a couple years ago and got their asses kicked by Penn State. No, this won't be an ass kicking. I just love Iowa. And I think this game will be somewhat competitive. 9 o'clock on CBS Sports Network, number 13 BYU at Utah State. I project BYU by 7.5, total 52-45. Meanwhile, it's 9.5 and 63.5. I love the under. BYU's defense has been really good this year. So is Utah State's defense. That is so high. Give me the under. All right. Saturday, 12 o'clock on ESPN. Game days there. Number 8, Arkansas. Number 2, Georgia. I project Georgia by 13. Total 49.05. Meanwhile, 17.5 and 50.5. I have no choice but to take Arkansas on the points. Everybody loves Georgia and JT Daniels, but I think Arkansas will stay within the number to cover, not the win. All right, next up on Fox, number 14, Michigan at Wisconsin. I project Wisconsin by 3.5, total 59.2. Meanwhile, it is Wisconsin 2.5, total 43.5. I have no choice but to take the over. I think Michigan's offense has actually been pretty good this year. And I think that their defense has shown some vulnerabilities a little bit. So I think Wisconsin could do enough to offensively for this to go over. I think Wisconsin will win. Tennessee, Missouri on SEC Network. I project Missouri by 3, total 46-15. Meanwhile, it's 2.5 and 65.5. I love the under. Love it. Charlotte, Illinois on the Big Ten Network. I project Charlotte as a 1.5 point favorite, total 51-55. Meanwhile, it's Illinois by 10.5, total 54.5. I love Charlotte getting the 10.5, minus 115. I'm taking a plus 230 on the money line. ACC Network, Pitt, Georgia Tech. I project Georgia Tech by 6.5, total 58.3. Meanwhile, it is Pitt by 2.5, total 57.5. I'm taking Georgia Tech plus 2.5 and minus 104 and plus 130 to win straight up. ESPN 2, Duke, North Carolina. I project UNC by 8.5, total 66-35. Meanwhile, it's UNC by 19.5, total 71.5. I love Duke getting the 19.5 and minus 105. No, they won't win. They'll just cover. Big Ten Network, Minnesota, Purdue. I project Minnesota by 1, total 43-55. Meanwhile, it's Purdue by 2.5, total 46.5. This one's actually pretty tough. But I'm going to take Minnesota plus a 2.5 and plus 112 to win straight up. They'll bounce back. Toledo and UMass. I project Toledo by 10, total 52-65. Meanwhile, it's Toledo's 27.5, total 56.5. I'm taking UMass in the 27.5 just to cover. ABC, Texas, and TCU. I project Texas by a half, total 70.5. Meanwhile, it is Texas 3.5, total 65.5. I like the over. I don't know who wins. Probably Texas, but I'm going to go over 65.5, minus 114. ESPNU, Memphis, Temple. I project Memphis by 9.5, total 66.55. Meanwhile, it is Memphis 10.5, total 59.5. I'm taking the over. Western Michigan against Buffalo on the CBS Sports Network. I project Buffalo by a half, total 54-15. Meanwhile, it is Western Michigan by 6.5, total 60.5. I'm taking Buffalo here. Plus 6.5, minus 104, and plus 210 to win straight up. 12:30 ESPN 3, Louisville at number 24, Wake Forest. I project Wake by 5.5, total 58-85. Meanwhile, 6.5 and 62.5. I'm going to take the under. 2 o'clock, App State, Georgia State. I project App State by 10, total 53-85. Meanwhile, it is 9.5 and 55.5. Close numbers, but I'm taking the under. Pac-12 Network, USC, Colorado. I project USA by 11.5, total 45-6. Meanwhile, it is 7.5 and 50.5. So 4-point edge on USC. And a more than 4.5-point edge on the under. So I'm going to go under 50.5, minus 105, but I don't feel good about it. Huge game at 2:30 on NBC. Number 7, Cincinnati. At number 9, Notre Dame. I project Notre Dame by 6.5, total 60-45. Meanwhile, it's Cincinnati by 1.5, total 50.5. I love the over in this game, but I also love Notre Dame too. Notre Dame feels like the safer side to go, but just to be different, I'm going to take over 50.5, minus 110, although I do love Notre Dame plus 1.5 on the money line at even money. Yo Monroe at number 16, Coastal Carolina. I project Coastal by 26.5, total 55. Meanwhile, it is 33.5 and 57.5. I have to take Yo Monroe in the points. Eastern Michigan and Northern Illinois. I project Eastern by 5.5, total 66.7. Meanwhile, it is Northern Illinois by 1.5, total 59.5. So the edge on Eastern Michigan is 7 points. And the edge on the over is 7 as well. A little more than that. So to play it safe, I'm going to go over 59.5. Next up, big game. Ole Miss, number 12 Ole Miss, and number 1 Alabama on CBS. I project Bama by 10.5, total 69.6. Meanwhile, it is 14.5, total 79.5. I'm going to go under. I think that the Alabama defense steps up and keeps this under. And I think Bama will win. ABC 3:30. Number 3 Oregon at Stanford. I project Oregon by 10. Total 57.7. And it is... where is that line? 7.5 and 57.5. I have to take the Ducks. I know a lot of people like Stanford. But I think it's just a good spot for the Ducks. Day game. Stanford really doesn't have a home crowd, but I'm going to lay the 7.5 with Oregon. On Fox, number 6, Oklahoma at Kansas State. I project, I might have to make an adjustment on the fly here because I know Skylar Thompson, which is worth a deuce of points. So let me see here for a second. Not likely to play, and he's worth about 4 points. So I'm going to make an adjustment here on the fly and make Oklahoma by 11.5. I initially had 7.5, but now with Skylar Thompson unlikely to play, I'm going to say Oklahoma by 11.5, total 46.6. Meanwhile, it is Oklahoma 11.5, total 53.5. I have no choice but to take the under, and that pick makes a lot of sense. Next up, Ohio State against Rutgers. I project Ohio State by 11, total 55.2. Meanwhile, it is, according to DraftKings, Ohio State 15, total 57.5. So I'm going to take Rutgers getting the 15.5 at home to keep it inside the number. Troy in South Carolina on the SEC Network. I project South Carolina by 11, total 37.5. Meanwhile, it is 6.5 and 43.5. I have to take the under. I love it. I have an edge on South Carolina and the under, but I'm going with the under. FAU. I project FAU by 11.5, total 57, in terms of 50.7. Meanwhile, it's 10.5 and 51.5. Very close. But I have no choice but for the podcast play to lay it with FAU. Syracuse, Florida State on the ACC Network. I project Syracuse is a 2.5-point favorite, total 48.2. Meanwhile, it is Florida State 5.5, total 50.5. I have to take Syracuse getting the 5.5 and plus 186 straight up. Texas Tech, West Virginia. I project West Virginia by 6.5, total 61.6. This game's on ESPN2, and it is I don't see that lineup on FanDuel. Very strange. Oh, here it is. 7.5 and 54.5. I'm going to take the over. I know West Virginia's been an under team this year, but Tech's been an over team. And I think that West Virginia's offense can have success against Texas Tech's defense, which is Swiss cheese. CBS Sports Network, UCF and Navy. I project UCF by 15, total 57.65. Meanwhile, it's 16.5 and 53.5. I am going to take the over. Tulane, East Carolina. I project Tulane 2.5, total 62.5. Meanwhile, it is Tulane 3.5, total 64.5. I have no choice but to take the under. Central Michigan and Miami of Ohio. I project Central by 1.5, total 56.5. Meanwhile, Miami of Ohio is giving a half-point, total 56.5. I have to take Central plus that half, pretty much just a win on the money line, minus 106. Because there's no such thing as a tie in college football. Ohio, Akron, I project Ohio by 6.5, total 57.9. Meanwhile, it's 9.5 and 55.5. I have to take Akron getting the 9.5. Bowling Green, Kent State. I project Kent by 10.5, total 41.65. Meanwhile, it is 60.5 and 55.5. I have to take the under. Fox Sports 1, Nevada, Boise. I project Boise 6.5, total 49.1. Meanwhile, it's 5.5 and 59.5. I have to take the under here, too. 4 o'clock, ESPNU, South Florida, SMU. I project SMU by 20.5, total 61.4. Meanwhile, it is 20.5 and 68.5. I have to take the under. Arkansas State, Georgia Southern. I project Arkansas State getting +1. So, yeah, Georgia Southern +1, total 63.65. Meanwhile, it's Georgia Southern -1.5, total 65.5. I'm going to take Arkansas State +1.5 at -108 and +102 to win straight up. 5 o'clock, Army, Ball State. I project Army by 2.5, total 53.65. Meanwhile, it is Army 9.5, total 47.5. I have to take Ball State getting the 9.5. 5:30, Washington State, Cal on the Pac-12 network. I project Cal by 7, total 50.85. Well, 7.5, total 52.5. I have to take the under. 6 o'clock on ESPN, number 10, Florida at Kentucky. I project Kentucky by 3.5, total 51.9. Meanwhile, Florida by 7.5, total 56.5. I have to take Kentucky plus 7.5 at -114 and +240 to win straight up. Louisiana Tech at NC State, number 23, NC State on the ACC Network X channel. I project NC State by 11.5, total 52.15. Meanwhile, it's 18.5 and 55.5. I have to take Louisiana Tech getting the 18.5. UNLV at UTSA, I project UTSA by 21, total 55.35. Meanwhile, it is 21.5 and 55.5. Numbers are so close. I mean, as close can get. I have to take UNLV plus a 21.5 at -118 for the podcast play, though, unfortunately. 6:30, Southern Miss, Rice. I project Rice by 1, total 51.5. Meanwhile, it's Rice 1.5, total 44.5. I have to take the over. Air Force, New Mexico. I project Air Force 9.5, total 47.35. Meanwhile, it's 11.5 and 46.5. I have to take New Mexico getting the 11.5. That game's on Fox Sports 2. 7 o'clock, SEC Network. Mississippi State at number 15, Texas A&M. I project A&M by 13.5, total 43.5. Meanwhile, it is 7.5 and 45.5. I'm going to lay the 7.5 with Texas A&M. ESPN 2, number 21, Baylor at number 19, Oklahoma State. I project OK State by 11, total 57, as in 50.7. I project, now Oklahoma State 3.5, total 47.5. I'm laying it with Oklahoma State. Feels like everybody likes Baylor in this game. Marshall, Middle Tennessee. I project Marshall 9.5, total 61.2. Mills 10.5 and 66.5. I have to take the under. Liberty, UAB on CBS Sports Network. I project UAB by 3, total 49.85. Meanwhile, it's 2.5 and 49.5. Again, very close numbers. But a slightly closer edge on UAB. So I'm going to lay the 2.5 at UAB at -105. Fox Sports 1, Kansas, Iowa State. I project Iowa State by 23.5, total 60.5. Meanwhile, it's 34.5 and 56.5. I have no choice but to take Kansas getting the 34.5. 7:30 ABC, Indiana, number 4, Penn State. I project Penn State by 14, total 49.45. Meanwhile, it is 12.5 and 52.5. I am taking the under. Western Kentucky at number 17, Michigan State on Fox Sports 1. I project this as Michigan State 12.5 total 60.4. Meanwhile, it is 11.5 and 64.5. I'm taking the under. ACC Network, BC, number 25, Clemson. And I'm projecting Clemson 4, total 43.7. Meanwhile, it is Clemson's 15.5, total 46.5. I'm taking BC plus a 15.5 and minus 112. ESPNU, UConn, Vandy. I project Vandy 13, total 55.15. Now it's Vandy 15.5, total 51.5. I'm taking the over. Big Ten Network, Northwestern, Nebraska. I project Northwestern by 6.5, total 46.15. Meanwhile, it's Nebraska laying 12.5, total 51.5. I'm taking Northwestern plus a 12.5 and plus 390 to win straight up. Love that pick. Louisiana and South Alabama at 8 o'clock. I project Louisiana by 9.5, total 47.6. Meanwhile, it's 11.5 and 52.5. I'm taking the under. 9 o'clock, ESPN, number 22, Auburn at LSU. I project LSU by 7, total 60.7. Now it's 2.5, total 56.5. I'm going to lay the points with LSU, minus 128. Old Dominion, UTEP. I project UTEP by 14, total 52.65. Meanwhile, it's 5.5 and 48.5. I'm going to lay the 5.5 with UTEP. Old Dominion is just really bad. Washington, Oregon State on the Pac-12 network. I project Washington by 6.5, total 56 or 57.65. Meanwhile, Oregon State by 1.5, total 57.5. I'm taking the Huskies plus 1.5 and even money on the money line. 10:30 Fox Sports 1. Arizona State at number 20 UCLA. I project Arizona State by 5, total 55.05. Meanwhile, it's UCLA by 3.5, total 55.5. I've taken Zona State plus 3.5 and plus 134 to win on the money line. New Mexico State, San Jose State. I project San Jose State by 15, total 39.5. Meanwhile, it is 27.5 and 52.5. So those are pretty big edges both ways. So it's 13 and 12.5. So I'd rather take the under than New Mexico State. So that's good. So under 52.5 minus 108. And last but not least, at 11 o'clock on CBS Sports Network, number 18 Fresno State at Hawaii. I project this as a pick in 57.95. Meanwhile, it's Fresno 10.5, total 64.5. I'm taking Hawaii getting the 10.5. No, I don't think they're going to win. So I'm just going to take the points, even though I project this as a pick. So there you have it for the podcast picks for college football. Now we'll quickly go over the results where things stand right now in the current PGA tournament, which is the Sanderson Farms Championship. On top right now with a score of 9 under, Harold Varner III. Second place, 8 under, Saeed Thagala. Tied for third with 7 under, Saibu Kim, Aaron Weiss, and Nick Watney. Tied for 6th with 6 under, Kurt Kitayama and Roger Sloan. Tied for 8th with 5 under is a pretty big tie. Because of lack of time, I'm just going to go through notables. Patton Kazir, Sanjay Im, Gary Woodland, Corey Connors, Lucas Clover, Adam Hadwin, Brendan Steele. Tied for 21st with 4 under. Henrik Norlander, Joel Dahman, Tyler Duncan, Vince Whaley, C.T. Pond, Dylan Fratelli. Tied for 36 with 3 under. J.T. Potson, Walter Zalatoris, Doc Redman, Lucas Herbert, Dylan McCarthy, Luke List. Tied for 50th with 2 under. J.J. Spawn, Sebastian Munoz, Sam Ryder, Davis Thompson, Emiliano Grillo, Chesson Hadley, Adam Long, Russell Knox, Chris Kirk, and Camilo Vegas, Sergio Garcia, too. Tied for 74th with 1 under is a big tie, too. Taylor Hogue, Mino Pereira, Patrick Rogers, Caleb Ortiz, Chesver V, Cam Triangle. Tied for 102 with even. Seamus Power, Adam Schenk, Brendan Todd, Mackenzie Hughes. Tied for 118 with 1 over. Kevin Mitchell, Sub Straka, Zach Johnson, Bo Van Pelt. And that's it among notables other than Richie Wierenski in 143rd with 8 over. Now I'm just going to do picks for NASCAR. I'm not going to go over the starting lineups because we are running low on time. So I'm going to go to DraftKings for the picks here. So we'll start with a matinee truck race tomorrow 1 o'clock. The Chevrolet Silverado 250. My pick here, let's go Todd Gilliland 11-1. Xfinity matinee early evening, sort of, 4:30. So the late afternoon. Sparks 300 at Talladega. Let's go with Noah Gragson 10-1. And last but not least, the Cup race, the Yellowwood 500 at Talladega. Sunday at 2 o'clock on the big NBC. Let's go 15-1. Kevin Harvick. This is his spot. He's had a down year compared to last year. So I'm going to go 15-1 Kevin Harvick to win the Yellowwood 500 from Talladega. I'm quickly going to do news and notes prior to the weekend. We don't have a lot, which is good because I just got to get into Fab 5 Best Bet. So I apologize for really rushing this. Coming down right now is that Justice Kavanaugh tests positive for COVID. This is coming in from 10-10 wins just now. Last night in the game between the Bengals and the Jags, DJ Chark fractured his ankle and is expected to miss the season as surgery is the most likely option. So hopefully Chark gets well soon. So that's a bad loss for the Jaguars offense and Trevor Lawrence. Derek Carr makes an interesting comment and says that the Chargers are a home game. It's just a fact. It says that the Chargers SoCal crowds have always favored the silver and black. Oof. Comments like that are karma. Just saying. Bucks Patriots is the hottest ticket. Duh. As the returns are averaging $1,222 on StubHub, over 20% higher than the next closest game. I mean, of course, it's Brady's first game back there since joining the Bucks. So after the Astros celebrate their division win, Dusty Baker does a shoe, which is drinking beer out of a shoe. Very legendary. Couple Yankees news and notes. Luke Voigt to the injured list with the knee tweak. It just loses a righty bat there. I'm more worried about some of the other guys right now that might be dinged up, like Eric Cole and Gary Sanchez maybe, and Joey Gallo, who got hit by the pitch the other day. And then they removed Stanton from the game yesterday. That might have been for defense, though. And DJ LeMahieu left the game last night with the right hip soreness. Maybe that's just precaution. The Arizona Coyotes relax game dress code as they intend to fully relax its game day attire despite league's jacket and tie policy. Jacob Vrana out 4 months with shoulder surgery. That's a brutal loss for the Red Wings. Vrana was good for them after the trade. Joel Embiid says that the 76ers built around Ben, as the situation is kind of disrespectful after the report that Simmons doesn't want to play with him. Lane Kiffin shares his USC firing story as he was on a recruiting visit in Los Angeles this past weekend as he walked by the airport tarmac where he was fired. I remember that. I remember that story getting leaked years ago. Talked about this in the NFL Pick segment when I did Giants Saints, but neither Darius Slayton or Sterling Shepard has taken any practice reps this week, and the outlook for Sunday is not good. So they have to rely a lot on Kenny Galladay and Kadarius Toney. And then the tight ends and Saquon. The Phillies have toxic culture as members described a toxic culture in player development and employees who didn't feel empowered to coach. A couple contract extensions in the NHL. The Leafs head coach, Sheldon Keefe, gets a 2-year extension. And finally, Quinn Hughes and the Canucks, 6 years, $46.5 million deal to lock him up long term. Now they just have to get Elias Pettersson done. And the big story from yesterday from a pop culture and sports standpoint, the Super Bowl halftime show. Super Bowl 56 halftime show. Dr. Dre, Kendrick Lamar, Mary J. Blige, Eminem, and Snoop Dogg. That's fantastic. I could just picture in my head what songs they're going to do. I think Eminem's going to put on a show. I think Mary J. will rock it too. I think that is legendary. I think there could potentially be more. I think that maybe the Pussycat Dolls could be featured because Snoop Dogg does a couple songs with them. So that is some halftime show, and I like it a lot. All right. Best bet of the day brought to you by FanDuel. I'm actually going to go to college football for best bet because I think baseball right now is too much of a free-for-all with it being the last weekend. So, for my best bet tonight, I'm going to take the under in the BYU-Utah State game for my best bet of the day. Now to the Fab Five. We'll start in college football. I have a lot of picks in mind. Pick number 1. Duke getting 19.5 at UNC. I think that UNC is vastly overrated. It's just that they're just not what we thought they were going to be. And it's showed the first couple weeks of the season. So give me Duke getting the points to keep that game very close. Also, give me Charlotte getting 10.5 at Illinois. I think Charlotte's a decent team. They pulled one FBF upset this year. Let's see if they can make it 2. The next Fab 5 pick, I'm going to take the Kentucky Wildcats plus 7.5 at home against UNC. Or I'm not UNC. I'm sorry, I had the Duke game in my head against Florida. I just think this could be a trap game for Florida. Kentucky, I think, could pull this one off. So giving Kentucky plus 7.5 against Florida. The next one, I'm going to take Northwestern getting 12.5 against Nebraska. I just think that the Northwestern is a team that loves to perform as a dog, and I just don't trust Adrian Martinez and the Huskers. And the last pick of the NFL Fab 5 is going to be I had a lot of games in mind for Fab 5. And I can't pick where, I can't decide where to go with this one. Let's go with This is a lot tougher than I thought. I know I picked a lot of dogs this week. But I kind of want to take a total for the last one because there's a lot of totals that I liked as well. Still skimming the board. Let's go under in the Bama game for the last one. I just think that Saban and company and defense will slow down the Ole Miss offense just enough. Maybe this is a 40-30 game. Maybe it is 40-24, 40-27, 45-24. It's going to be something like that. So under 79.5 between Ole Miss and Alabama for the last pick of the Fab 5. And the money line pick of the week, I'm going to double down on an underdog that I picked for Fab 5, and that is Kentucky. Plus 240 at home against UNC. And now I'm going to do the NFL Fab 5. The first one of the NFL Fab 5 is going to be under 51.5 in the Panthers-Cowboys game. There's a lot of injuries in this game for Carolina. the Cowboys' defense wasn't all that bad. They had a defensive touchdown in that game against Philly. And the Carolina offense without McCaffrey, I just don't really trust. I'm going under 51.5 between the Cowboys and the Panthers for the first of the Fab 5 picks. I don't really love it, but I'm going to lay the 3 with the Chicago Bears over the Detroit Lions. Maybe their defense will turn back the clock a little bit. Khalil Mack has a big game. So let's go with that. Next one, I'm going to lay the 4 with the Rams against the Cardinals. I just think that Matt Stafford and company in another big spot. And I think they have a huge coaching advantage in this game. That really matters, guys. So I'm going to lay the 4 with the Rams. I am also going to take... This is a tough one. I'm stuck between a couple games. I'm going to take the Broncos getting the 1 at home against the Ravens. And the last one, I'm going to take New England getting the 7 in the Brady Bowl. Because I just think that Belichick is just going to have his players get up for that game. And I don't think I picked the Sunday night game since the opener. So I'm going to go with the Patriots getting the 7 to not win, but the cover. And then Denver, I just think that they should be favored in that game. And then the moneyline pick of the week, underdog moneyline pick of the week. I know I just took the Broncos, but they're a minus dog. I'm going to take a plus dog, and that plus dog is the Atlanta Falcons, plus 102 against the Washington Professional Football Team is my money line pick of the week for the NFL. So again, the Fab 5, college, Duke plus 19.5 against UNC. Charlotte plus 10.5 against Illinois. Under 79.5 between Ole Miss and Bama. Kentucky plus 7.5 against Florida. Northwestern plus 12.5 against Nebraska. And then Kentucky's the moneyline pick of the week at plus 240. NFL Fab 5. Falcons plus 1. Oh, wait. No, that's my bad. That's a bet I placed earlier in the week. So I like to do that. Place bets earlier in the week. So Fab 5 for the NFL. Bears minus the 3 against the Lions. Under 51.5 between the Panthers and the Cowboys. Rams minus 4 against the Cardinals. Broncos minus 1 against the Ravens. I thought about Broncos plus 1 against the Ravens, not minus 1. So plus 1 against the Ravens. Thought about the 49ers, but just didn't want to go there. And then the Patriots getting 7 against the Bucs in the moneyline pick of the week. The Falcons plus 102 against the Washington Professional Football Team. All right, so there you have it for the show. I know it was a big show today. I apologize for not getting to the NHL Trade Value rankings. We'll do that hopefully on Monday's show. We'll be back on Monday recapping everything from the weekend. We will talk about how the baseball stuff played out, WNBA playoffs, golf, NASCAR, news and notes, and my best bet of the week. I hope you guys have a fabulous weekend, everyone.